nerds, just sitting around talking about stuff. The Burg nerds, this is the Burg nerds, just sitting around talking about shit.
Hello and welcome to the Burg Nerds, Central Kentucky's 95th most popular podcast for sweaty, corpulent nerds who thoroughly enjoy cake and pie. We want to welcome you to episode 4, our comic book special. Tonight in the studio we have myself, Lee,
Joe,
Jordan,
and Jeremy.
What do we have going on tonight?
I'd like to touch down on, we're fixing to hit up the Lexington ComicCon Saturday, March 15th. I think the most of us are going to be there.
It's a three-day event, right? It's
3-day event,
14th,
yeah.
15th, 16th?
Yes.
We're going to be there on the 15th, I think.
Yep, going to hit it up on Saturday.
Got some cosplay going on too, right?
Oh, yeah. I got the DuckTales characters, the Beagle Boys.
Beagle Boys are in the house.
It's
Yeah.
featuring Burger, Beagle, Baggy, and what's Eddie?
Babyface. Yeah, unfortunately, Eddie couldn't be with us this episode. He has some work things he's got to do, so unfortunately he couldn't be here for this one.
We are sans Eddie tonight. So
Yep.
He is here in spirit.
Yep.
And
So definitely looking forward to the con. This will be my first convention to actually go to, so
They're
I'm
fun.
interested in
Yeah.
seeing how it goes.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's like being surrounded by 5,000 like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except it's nothing really like that because it's such a broad spectrum that, like, I mean, you got like the Star Trek kids squaring off with the Star Wars kids, and you know, it's really not that good, but it's fun.
I have fun at cons, but
I have an absolute blast, but you would think,
and you run into very few assholes.
yeah,
They are there. Very few of them.
yeah. Then there's the people that just look like they do not belong at any kind of convention. Really, they're
Just
always there.
a question to you guys: who all is going to be there on the days, like special guests?
Most of the
15.
Power Rangers will be there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I need to go talk to Bulk and Skull.
Yep.
So
Yeah, they've been there pretty much every year that they've had all 3 years, right? Third year.
They had a big Q&A last year, which was apparently the biggest one that they had.
Wow, that
That
who
says a
gives
lot.
Fuck, who gives a fuck? I hate the Power Rangers so bad. I know, Jordan, you're a big fan of what's the two guys' name? I don't even fucking
Bulk and Skull, man.
Bulk and Skull. Yeah, you just said. Yeah, I couldn't give one fuck. I really hate the Power Rangers. They came too late for me. You know, I know there's like only a year gap between us, really, but they came in a little too late.
I caught them right at the beginning, and I watched like the first 2 seasons, and I stopped.
You were like,
So,
what, 29?
Yeah, roughly.
Funny thing in regards to this, I never watched the Power Rangers growing up because my mother happened to watch Ultraman when it first come on, and she's like, "You're not gonna be watching this stupid shit on TV while I'm home." So I was like,
Mama
okay.
ain't tolerating that knockoff
Yeah, we ain't
bullshit.
dealing with that bullshit.
So, as Lee said, this is our very special comic book episode. So, without further ado, let's quit talking about the fucking Power Rangers because I hate them so
Fuck
bad.
you.
Let's get all this fucking stupid Power Ranger bullshit. So, we were talking earlier, and earlier this week, Jordan.
No, let's go back to it.
Zordon says
Jordan's
no.
going to be sitting outside for the rest of this episode talking to himself about the Power Rangers.
Okay.
We were talking earlier this week, right, about wanting to do. We don't touch on a lot of comic stuff, which we're all at one point in our life, and even me currently, are just big comic book nerds, and we wanted to do an entire episode based on comic book stuff. So we kind of threw around some ideas and everything, and of course, introducing this idea I thought was cool because you get the nostalgia effect.
Sure.
Plus, you get to talk about everything else. So we're going to launch right into the first comic you ever bought. And I remember vividly, actually, I've got 2 sides to the coin on the first comic I ever bought. But we're going to go to Lee. Lee, what was the very first comic book that you ever bought?
The first one I ever bought essentially was actually one bought for me. It was the Death of Superman comic.
Very nice.
Doomsday.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did you buy it? Because when you were a kid, you had to fandangle your cash and stuff. You know, let's all face it. When we fucking kids, Mom
I had to
and Daddy
hoard it
bought
from
the
my
comics
brother.
for us, but
Yeah, I had to bury it in the yard for my brother, so he wouldn't take it.
fucking asshole.
I know. I got that. Of course, it came with the reprint of Action Comics 1.
The first appearance of Superman.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And then the one I actually first bought myself was one of the X-Men series, and of course there was many volumes and mega issues, and so recalling which one, I don't know, but X-Men is probably one of my favorite kind of comic series.
We're talking about the Uncanny, or are we talking about the X-Men Volume 2 that came in, or when it was just
Uncanny.
The original, Volume 1?
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. There's a lot of good stuff out of that. As a matter of fact, I still have some pretty key issues from the original Uncanny X-Men.
Right on.
And that's all good stuff. Like, you really, I mean, I think, in my opinion, that's Marvel pretty much at the height of their, at the height of their game.
You've got the first appearance of the Blob, don't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do, and I will hang on to that forever. I was gonna wait for hard times and maybe try to send it out the door, but no, I'll probably be buried with that motherfucker. I really, that's probably my most. Actually, it's probably my most valuable.
Jason used to have several. I think he had some. If I'm not mistaken, he had Fantastic Four like number 2 or 3 at one point.
That's fucking ridiculous.
He sold it.
Yeah.
Years ago, but
I'll give you anything to get my hands on it, man. That's some.
He sold
big
him
money.
He sold him to buy his car. So yeah.
Well, it doesn't get much better than that, man. You got to get around. Joey, what you got?
After thinking about it, the first comic I personally bought myself was one of the Ninja Turtle comics, I believe, by Archie. And the only thing that I remember about it was...
No, are we talking about the original run from, was it 80?
No, he's talking about the Archie Comics version, not the Eastman and Laird one.
Oh, okay,
not the violent stuff.
Not the real cartoon.
Not the super fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing I remember about it, I don't remember the name, but I know
they were a little more G-rated, right?
Yeah,
because they were
definitely
the Archie title.
More akin to the show that was on in the 80s.
Sure.
The only thing that I really remember about it is it had a Fox character in it that Raphael was after. I believe it was his quote-unquote girlfriend.
Yeah, I
nice.
So yeah, there's that. But the ones that I received first, I got them from my mom saw them at a yard sale.
Nice.
It had Iron Man. I don't even know what issue it was. I don't remember anything specific about
the
it.
Invincible Iron
Man. But it was SpiderMan. I believe it may have been Web of SpiderMan.
Probably the least popular and probably most underrated, because I had a lot of. Actually, I had a run. I think I still have a run of Web of Spider-Man from like 1 to like 20. I mean, there's no monetary value there, but it was actually some pretty good reading. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that I really remember about it is he was still wearing his symbiote outfit, the black costume.
Yes.
And the villain, his name was Slide, and he used Teflon to coat his suit with, which allowed him to run super fast. And
Spider-Man couldn't get a web on him either.
Yeah, it was pretty lame, but at the same time,
it's actually brilliant if you really consider it. Like,
it is,
this fucker shoots webs. How can I not be grabbed by him?
And
Teflon
and eggs and cheese and nothing you cook on him.
Yep.
Yeah, and Peter Parker was, gosh darn it, the heck, I can't get away.
Yeah.
It was G-rated, but it was, yeah.
But as far as I can tell, hardly anybody knows about the character anymore, or the villain. I think he was maybe a 2 or 3 episode deal, and that was about it, or 2 or 3 comic deal.
Now, do you have a favorite comic issue of all time? Does that go in the web?
I personally think that there was one that ran in Wolverine. It was
the Wolverine series from who was that? Was that with Jim Lee? Was it on the Wolverine series?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
All I know is it was after Magneto had removed his adamantium.
Yes.
And he had finally healed up. It seemed kind of like he was having a really fucking miserable life. And Sabretooth decides to show up and just kind of torment him about it. And at the very end of the comic, if I'm not mistaken, Wolverine puts one of his bone claws right up under his neck and shoots it into his head.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that one always set with me because I had never experienced like violence in a comic before.
Yeah, the comics code kind of kept that under.
Yeah, but
under its thumb.
That's the one that I remember.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. Jordan, what about you, man? Right on, Joe. That was well done.
First comic, like Joey, it was an Archie comic, Ninja Turtle. I can't even remember what happened. The other one I bought, I used to always get my comics at Clink's drugstore.
Yes, I remember.
And they had the little comic rack.
Back before Rite Aid, Walgreens took over America.
Yep.
It was a Spider-Man. It was one
I got a cherry cream soda for 5 cents. That's a comic book.
It was a Spider-Man one that had Venom on the cover, and at that age, I was always drawn to monsters.
Yeah,
and I saw Venom. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna buy
a monster if there ever was one.
Yeah, and I was like, I know who Spider-Man is, so I'm gonna get that. Not much happened. It was shortly after McFarlane quit.
Yeah, what was Marvel back then consisted of 10 pages of the actual comic, and then another 11 pages of ads.
It had an old advertisement for that the second Wizards and Warriors Nintendo game on it. But yeah, I used to always I used to get my comics at Clank's, and then in Frankfurt there was a place called Little Professor bookstore, and I would get a ton of comics there, like in the early 90s when I really started getting into comics during the big comic book boom.
Right on,
so
yeah.
the 90s.
Let us not forget about Foodtown. Lawrenceburg's one of the only places in Lawrenceburg that you could actually get comics at for a good period of time.
Yeah.
That was actually where I purchased my first comic purchase. The first comic book I ever owned, actually, I won in a basketball game. If you can ever picture me playing basketball and winning against anyone. My dad had a friend that lived out of town, and we'd go up there and visit. One of the neighborhood kids was a big comic collector, big avid comic book collector. And the very first comic I ever owned was it's like Uncanny XMen number 258. It had Wolverine, but he was like in like trunks, and he was like all body hair, and he's like fucking uppercutting Magneto on the cover, and it was cool. And I actually won a game of like 1-on-1, 10-by-1 or something for a comic book. But the first one I ever actually purchased was at Foodtown, as Joey said, if you'll remember. Foodtown was the only place that, aside from Clinks, that you could actually buy comics in this one horse town. But the first comic book I ever walked in with and spent my hard-earned allowance on was Spawn #1. Yep. And that was back in the day when Image was first getting started. Like Todd McFarlane just started up Image, and
what was it? It was mainly like Spawn, Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
Savage Dragon and another one.
Pit.
Yep.
And that was back in the day when there was a little in the front of all Image Comics, it had the address and everything. For Image, you could write in. You could actually mail your comics in, and Todd McFarlane would sign them, and you pay for the postage, and he mailed them back. So I remember buying 2 copies of Spawn #1. And I sent them both in and had them autographed by Todd McFarlane.
Oh, that's awesome.
And who the fuck knows where they're at now? Because I do not own them anymore. I have a Spawn #1. Actually, I have a pretty big run. I have Spawn #1 through like 12, 15, something like that now, but none of them are autographed. Who knows what the hell? I probably traded them for a sandwich or something.
kind of touching on that. Jordan talking about Venom being on the cover. I always thought it was funny while McFarlane was still doing the artwork for Venom.
Yeah.
How similar him and Violator would look sometimes. You'd have Venom on the cover and his jaw would be hanging down to about his waist.
Early.
And then you think about Violator, and his was practically on the ground. So
I love Todd McFarlane's run on Spider-Man.
His renditions were incredible.
Yeah.
One of my most prized possessions as far as comics goes comes from a Todd McFarlane piece. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 300. First appearance
of Venom.
First appearance of Venom, yeah. And of course, I got 368, first appearance of Carnage.
Man,
Cletus Cassidy.
No, it's 361. 361.
I don't remember numbers.
All I know he's a ginger-headed
I used to.
The actor for Rorschach, I know we've talked about this before. I think he would be absolutely perfect for Cletus Cassidy.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, Watchmen when he took his took his mask off. Like I first watched it at your house, Jeremy, and I was like, who does that fucking remind you of?
Like Carnage.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name at all.
Jackie Earle Haley.
Jackie Earle Haley.
I keep wanting to say Riley.
He's a brilliant actor, dude. A complete fucking weirdo in every movie that he plays.
He's in the Bad News Bears.
He was actually in the new RoboCop.
Talking about the original Bad News Bears?
Yep.
I didn't even know that. Was he like 12 or something?
Yep.
Weird.
He was that kid who hung out in the pool hall.
Look at that. The Burg Nerds episodes are actually educational. You're learning things. At least I am, anyway.
Do you remember the kid who hung out in the pool hall and smoked?
Yeah.
That was him. He hustled people at pool.
Oh, that's weird.
That was Jackie Earle Haley.
Who knew he would grow
up? He actually auditioned for Nightmare on Elm Street too.
Yeah, and
the original
landed it 30 years later.
Yeah. So
it only took him 30 years. And going back to another conversation we've had a million times, Jordan and I have had this conversation so many times. Is your favorite? I'm going to go ahead and say favorite, as opposed to the comic book female that you just want to bed down, like ever so gracefully and just caress and stroke But your favorite comic book females, and yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at favorite because who wants to get nerd boy or fanboy disgusting with?
I have no problem with it.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
I don't have a lot.
We'll go to Joe. Joe, what do you favorite comic book female? The hottest, the coolest?
Well, he has the best answer and always has had the best fucking answer.
Who is it?
Well, I have to say it's Mystique from X-Men.
That's the best fucking answer in the world.
Because you get anyone.
However,
with Mystique, you can have literally anyone.
There is a problem though.
You can have someone that doesn't exist. Have 8 titties. I want you to have 8 titties tonight. And we're gonna get
but if you
we've discussed the problem about this though.
Yeah, if you piss her off
Mystique, her problem is she can turn into a dude.
She turns into Norm from Cheers, right? You at least got a Cheers shirt on. Maybe that was an unconscious reference. You said you got her bent over the end of the bed, and she turns into hey Norm. Here.
I saw you looking at that girl under it. Oh fuck!
Yeah, you're screwed. Yeah, you got to keep her happy. If you've got Mystique, you've got to keep her happy.
And I'm going to say her appearance on the first and second X-Men movies.
Rebecca Romijn.
Yeah, I like those movies and everything, but God, I loved how she looked on there.
Yeah, I think everybody likes. I think it's a general consensus is that everybody enjoys how Rebecca Romijn.
See, I really wanted just to see the white dress and the red hair, but that's
yeah.
I was kind of weird about the scales.
It kind of takes the fun out of it, though, but. It doesn't matter if she's scaly. Who cares if she has a dick in her natural form? She can be anyone, so it doesn't really matter. And while I know the answer, I was going to ask Joe why, but we all know why it's Mystique because she's anyone.
Everybody likes variety, and if they don't, they're a fucking liar.
Honey, I was thinking if I do the dishes tonight, maybe you can have 2 vaginas and 4 titties.
So American.
And you can, just like. You can call shit like on the fly, like in the middle of sex. You're like, get 2 more titties on your back. Go ahead, we need them.
Yeah,
I kind of want to see you with the cleft palate tonight.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, that's
Mystique.
Oh, baby. Okay, fuck. We're off somewhere else. Next. And while I know the answer to this question, I'm going to go ahead and ask Jordan anyway.
Oh, everybody knows my answer.
What is that?
It's Rogue.
Rogue.
Early 1990s Jim Lee Rogue with the big hair and the leather jacket and the yellow and green body.
Big hair and big something else.
And I don't care if you would die if you made love to her because that's a hell of a fucking way to die. I already have my living will wrote out. So if I'm in a coma, people know to fucking unplug me.
Yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, in the mutant nation of Genosha, I'm going full on nerd here.
Go for it.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there like a militant nation called Genosha where they like held
yes, but I didn't know that's how it's pronounced because I've only ever read it.
But did they or did they not have collars that nullified mutant powers?
Yes, suppressed it. They suppressed mutant powers.
Well, they've done it 5 or 6 different ways to suppress mutant powers. There's the shot, the pill, the collar,
So just get her a collar, and then I can.
Or just gloves.
Yeah. Well, no.
Well, they never really touched on that. Like, if she has the glove, is it everything she touches?
It's everything.
Okay. What if you're?
You can touch any part of her skin and it happens.
Oh, so if you're.
Yes, if you let's put it bluntly, if you are fucking Rogue and you stick your whatever, if you're fucking Rogue, yes, she's gonna absorb your power. It's every part of her body.
That bitch.
So just stick one of those collars on you when you want to get cuddly with her.
There you go.
I love Rogue.
Common sense sometimes escapes comic book characters, though.
And she's stronger, and she's got a good little. Wild side to her. She'd be fun. I love Rogue.
Do you like the twang in her voice?
Yes, she's a Southern
How did you feel about Anna Paquin?
Nope.
No.
I can see it. I can see it as a young, teenage Rogue, but I'm a fan of like early 20s, 1990s.
So you're thinking of the redhead chick from
Christina Hendricks?
Yeah, you're thinking of Christina Hendricks' Rogue?
No.
No, you couldn't see that?
No, I just like Christina Hendricks for Christina Hendricks.
Fair enough.
So Rogue is her own thing.
Lee, what do you got? Who you got?
Kind of a two-way tie. Both come from the Batman series, Catwoman, and of course,
Selena.
Crazy Chick, Harley Quinn.
Oh, Harley Quinn would
Harley
slit your
Quinn.
goddamn throat. But
I would let her. Yeah, those.
I mean, we
those two
know.
have
We
gotta
know.
be-
Who'd you say? Selena Kyle? Is that who you said? Did you say
Yeah.
Catwoman? That's a pretty good one.
Not Michelle
Like, we know-
Pfeiffer either. She was the. Why anybody likes her as Catwoman, I'll never know. I
Really,
thought she
you
was
didn't
horrible.
enjoy?
I did not.
I thought she was a little over the top. I thought she was corny and a little over the top. But
That whole series, though. I mean,
Well, as far as what in celluloid, in film, who's your Catwoman? Did you like Halle Berry better? Or?
No, the most recent one.
Okay, good, because we were going to ask you to sit outside with Jordan and talk about Power Rangers if you were going to pick Halle Berry. And Halle Berry is a gorgeous woman, but fuck no.
I can't think of the woman's name that did the one in the.
Anne Hathaway.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Absolutely.
Damn, she's gorgeous.
He had to pull his head away from the mic to spit that one out.
Yeah,
That's good, man. Right
that
on.
would be definitely her, and then the Harley Quinn, because my past has shown I like crazy chicks.
Right on, man.
I tend to gravitate towards women who like to hurt my
Right on. What about you, Jeremy?
Mine's a little more obscure. I gotta go
Cassie
with
Hack.
well, yeah, Jordan knows.
Oh, okay.
Like I said,
I was
we
right.
only had these conversations 100,000 times. Basically, all we do is sit here and record conversations that we've had 1,000,000 times. That's basically what this podcast is.
That was just
Yes,
a guess. I didn't know
Absolutely,
that was the one
Cassie Hack. Because she's nuts. I mean, she's crazy. And they're trying to push her into like a lesbian relationship in a lot of the when they did the full run, not just like the one shots and the little 5-6 issues. They did a full run of Cassie Hack, and they tried to push her into a lesbian relationship, and which is fun to see, but it doesn't do much for me. Like, they're killing my dreams over here, basically. I got to go with Cassie Hack. She's the brunette, which it's my thing. She's a brunette, and she's edgy and kind of a bitch, but she also hunts slashers. She hunts and kills slashers with the help of a former slasher, or who was thought to be a slasher at some point, but turned out to be an innocent, mentally challenged guy who lived behind an old restaurant or something in a garbage can. But was beside the point. But she's just a badass who goes around and just hunts slashers and kills them and takes them out, and that's fucking cool. That appeals to me too. So I got to go with Cassie Hack. Maybe Cassie Hack. Of course, Storm. There's just something about the stringy purple hair. And
Like early '80s Mohawk Storm, or like
no, like Jim Lee Storm.
Okay, yeah.
The more colorful.
Everybody else gets two. I want to throw in Felicia Hardy.
Felicia Hardy.
Harding.
Oh, Harding. I'm sorry.
Tanya.
The Black Cat.
Black Cat.
The
Yeah.
Black Cat.
Yeah,
Right
that's
on.
not.
Why me?
Yeah, she's all right for a blonde, I guess. But she's probably been 6 different colors in her.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's a.
Joey doesn't get a second one because he doesn't need one.
I have
The-
infinite possibilities.
Imagine
And
the
guys.
possibilities. That's pretty cool. Just don't piss her off. Stay on her
Yeah.
good side. I mean, you know what?
Hello there, six.
Here comes Beast.
Oh, fucking the old Hank McCoy.
That would be terrible. But where does it go? If you're inside of her, I want to come back to this because I have more questions.
That is a.
If you're inside of her and she turns into
I
Jackie
think
Earle
you
Haley,
know.
where does
think
it?
you fucking know?
It it probably just wonks out.
Yeah,
No, I probably
forces-
don't.
Oh, okay.
He's
maybe.
probably going to change it specifically to anus.
Oh,
I've thought about
It gets
this, and
real
I know-
tight real quick.
I've thought about it, and I've been like, just be nice, and that's about it.
You do everything you can to keep that one.
Joey's doing the dishes.
Believe it.
He's cleaning the house. He's fixing supper. He's doing everything. We're gonna move on a little
Wow,
bit.
that was pretty.
What?
Just assume that never mind.
You talking about my question?
No, just make her happy. It's just you clean the house, you make dinner. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I mean, you got
that
to.
was.
A woman that can potentially turn into a man at any time. You need to keep her happy.
No, I know, but
It's a double-edged sword.
No.
Yeah,
really
if my
is.
girlfriend could turn into a man at any point, any man in the fucking world, if she could turn into Bastin Booger at any given moment, I would be. I don't know why I threw Bastin Booger.
I don't even know who that is.
I would try to keep her happy.
So
we're moving on to what was another one we were talking about? We were talking about your favorite superheroes.
And
we'll just go ahead and round that off and say your favorite character. And we'll go villain too, from a comic book. It don't not necessarily hero, it could be anti-hero. It could just be,
It's too many.
What about you, Joe?
I'm gonna have to say, I believe it's Tony Stark.
Tony Stark.
Fuck him.
Because he's a prick. Anyway,
but that's straight out of jealousy, though.
That's not his no
personal-
denying that. He has everything I want.
Absolutely.
So fuck him.
Tony Stark, he may have been a rich, freaking philanthropist, but he was a guy. He was just a guy,
He
was
was a super fucking brilliant guy.
Yeah.
Let's face it. But
And
if smart's a superpower, I guess.
Yeah. With all the shit that ended up happening to him, he come through, and I don't know, just something about him. He seemed just like your regular, rich, average. Well, not average at all. Kind of got that, Tony Stark, Bruce Wayne complex going on.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, just that, and I'm a big tech guru.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff.
So he's pretty much everything you've ever wanted to be.
Yeah, the suit, the
No, I'm
Iron
with
Man
you.
suit was just amazing to me.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah.
I mean, who the fuck wouldn't want an awesome suit that could do all that shit, fly around, guns, just the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, but
Tony Stark.
with my size, I got to kind of take the Ironmonger suit. I don't think you
Better watch out, because he's a war machine.
The fucking Hulkbuster suit that he made too was pretty awesome.
Oh,
that
shit,
big
that was-
freaking mess of a suit.
You put fucking Hulk in an Iron Man suit, and that's the end of the world. Like, it's over from there. Yeah, you don't want to see a fat guy in the Iron Man suit, like his fucking
Actually,
belly's
I think
hanging
it
out.
would be fucking funny.
Like it's all compressed, and his belly's like muffin topping out of the armor.
Well, that's like when we talked about getting a symbiote, and like we're too fat, so the symbiote has to like stop above our navel.
It's like cutting into your skin and shit. And it's all tight.
We're trying to pull it down, and it just keeps tearing and stuff. It's just a mess.
It's like a frustrating yard sale shirt. Like
been in the wash too many times.
Right on, Lee. What do you got?
Joey took mine.
Did he take Tony Stark?
I do enjoy Tony Stark.
I knew that because I babysitted your kid, and he was a big Iron Man fan, and I said that's got to come from Dad.
Yeah,
it really does.
I really enjoy Batman too. I don't know. I've had an affinity for that whole series. Even the villains. Joker, Penguin, Hush. I don't know, man. I just that whole series to me. Two-Face is probably my favorite villain.
Really, Two-Face
from that series, yeah.
That's interesting. He seems to be overlooked. A very good villain.
If we're going to touch on villains, I'll come back to that in a little while.
Fair enough. That's a really good one. Like, everybody seems to overlook, and in the Batman universe anyway, everybody seems to kind of overlook Two-Face. He was actually a really good villain. I mean,
Hush was
Aaron Eckhart,
villains.
whatever. But in the comic, I mean, he was actually pretty tough. Yeah, definitely. Jordan, what about you?
Excuse me. By default, just Spider-Man. I've always loved Spider-Man, but if we're gonna as I've been thinking about it,
what about the one that you wouldn't think would be your favorite that you really kind of enjoyed? The Max.
The Max. I really like the Max.
Yeah, we were talking about the cartoon series earlier, weren't we?
Yeah, that was on MTV. Yeah, MTV's Oddity. I love the Max. I don't know. He's just a bum.
Yeah. He was tough, though, man.
Oh, yeah. He's just got those claws. I fucking love the Max.
Absolutely.
That's one of the best, comic book adaptations I've seen. Was looking back on it was that MTV, that little mini series that back when MTV was actually good, that they did MTV's Oddities the Max. I loved it.
Right. See, I never got to see any of the comics with the Max or the show. I just remember being in town one day and somebody had cable. We lived out in the country and didn't have cable out there. The only thing I remember about the Max one day is he was squaring off with this guy that looked like a freaking shark.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a cool looking show, but I didn't know anything about it.
That you can find them online. MTV.com still hosts them, and I'd recommend watching them.
That's pretty cool.
Oh my god, that show is so good.
Jeremy,
what
you got?
I've got so fucking many.
Yeah, it's hard to stop at one or two. So.
Yeah. My favorite superhero that I think the comic that I've read across the board more than any other is I'm a Marvel guy. I never was much of a DC guy. I got to go Spider-Man. But aside from that, I would say probably,
Richard Dreyfuss.
every fucking episode.
Sorry, I have to. That's
Dr. Leo?
Yeah, I got to go with Rorschach.
Yeah.
A pissed off ginger nut who just fucking
likes to eat beans.
And likes to eat people's jaw. I think it's really cool, man. He was a cool character. That mask was fucking brilliant. How it just And it was really cool in the comics, man. They just every single panel he was in, the mask looked different because it's always moving. And I thought that was fucking brilliant. He's tough as nails, and even his like personal politics were really cool.
He was like super right wing, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, but there, yeah.
We'll leave that at that. So.
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't want to. We don't want to get political.
Yeah, that's not good.
But even like his personal views and like the monologues that he had in the comic were just awesome. I mean, the opening monologue, of course, to the comic series and to the movie is essentially the same. There's a few things omitted and changed, but I go with Rorschach. I enjoyed Rorschach a lot. As far as villains, man, I gotta go Doctor Doom. It's one of my favorite villains. And for nothing other than the fact that he just looked so badass, if nothing else. I mean, he looked like you picture him sitting like when he's not out doing villainous things, like he's just sitting in his room listening to like Guar. Like he just looks so metal.
With villains, I'm gonna go with Violator Clown overall because I don't really consider Venom a villain. He's a villain to Spider-Man, but that's about it. Because
they eventually were forced to kind of team up when Carnage was.
He's like a vigilante superhero when it comes to Spider-Man. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Violator and Clown.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good one, Joe. What's your favorite villain? Did you?
It's kind of a tough call. Love Venom, but like I say, I consider him more of an anti-hero.
Yeah,
he's kind of like a vigilante off doing his own thing.
And as far as not to interrupt you, but as far as overlooked as in the Spider-Man universe, I think one of the coolest who is so often overlooked is Sandman. Sandman was awesome, and I got it. As much as I despised Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3,
Thomas Hayden
Church was fucking
perfect. He was a good Sandman.
It was awesome, and I got pissed because they were like, "Oh, let's focus on Eddie Brock."
That should have been 3. That should have been 2 movies.
It should have been 3 movies actually, because I liked Green Goblin too. I mean, I know everybody was tired of seeing James Franco whip around on a.
I like James Franco.
I do. I really like James Franco.
Well, he looked like an Osborn.
He really did. He looked like.
You could see that him and Willem Dafoe related. They looked like Osborns.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of looked like the comic, and they look like father and son, oddly.
It totally worked.
But Thomas Hayden Church is just Sandman in general, even Sandman from the comics. Mysterio was an excellent villain. I mean, when it comes into Spider-Man world, just the whole Sinister Six, like all of them, Electro, Mysterio.
Do what you need to with her and Bromer fast.
Not really even. It's not even another villain so much as just another kind of
anti-hero.
Sort of was from X-Men, the character Proteus.
Yes,
he was a mess. I mean, the ability to just kind of bend reality to your will is something I had never seen in the comics or the show.
I thought it was an underutilized power. Like there wasn't enough of him.
We'll touch on that later too.
Yeah.
But I know on the show, like I saw him on the show first, and then looked it up later on, and it was pretty much the same thing. I just remember he made Wolverine go all Warvily looking. He like changed his appearance and was.
He shook Wolverine up, which is hard to do.
Yeah, and like brought the earth up around him and like suffocated him like that. But he was one of them, and I have to say, favorite Marvel villain just for the hell of it, Juggernaut.
I'm going Apocalypse. But
the Juggernaut, bitch.
I love Juggernaut just because he's a big bully.
Yeah.
Damn, Charles. Dude,
my powers are magical.
Now pressing
cuddles.
Now pressing hard on you. What is? I mean, your favorite? You got to pick one. Favorite comic book of all time series. Favorite comic series of all time.
I'll go ahead and say mine is a new one. Favorite. It goes back to my favorite childhood video game, which was Mega Man.
Mega Man.
And Archie has took over and created the Mega Man comic series, and so far I've absolutely loved it. And it is just. To me, it touches on nostalgia and other things, just seeing it in print. I loved it.
Right on, man. What about you, Lee?
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
I know. I love that series.
It's very good. It's so good. It's too good.
Yeah.
And everybody is a Walking Dead fan now, and I fucking hate it. They really are. And
H-I-P-S-T.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know it is. It's hipster bullshit. But
I was just fucking with it.
No, it's true. It's so accurate. I hate it, but I hate it.
I feel the same way about stuff. I know.
Shit gets popular, and I don't have. Walking
And it's
Dead.
it's not yours anymore.
Well, the thing I love is you can still have that love for the series, the book.
Yeah.
Because the show does not
let's
follow
face it,
it.
the people who are watching the show, generally speaking, aren't reading the comics.
Correct.
Like, I can go ahead and tell you everything that's going to happen this season, but I won't because I've read the comics and they're sticking. They're sticking pretty hard to the comic, man. This season,
just when they are sticking to it so hard is when they usually take a sharp right, though.
Yeah,
they tend to.
Well, I mean, all the elements are there.
Yeah.
Ford and Eugene and the mulleted scientist, which
going to Washington. So it's all.
They're leading into Alexandria. Fucking spoiler alert. Afterwards, they're leading into fuck you. Who cares? They're going to Alexandria.
You have to do spoiler alert first.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Rated R for pirate. Fuck you.
Fuck all the Fairweather fanboys sitting at home watching AMC. They're going to Alexandria and they're going to fuck it up just like they fuck everything else up. They had the prison and it was wonderful and they fucked it up and they're going to go fuck Alexandria up. Sharp F's. Fuck.
Jordan?
The floor is yours.
Well, favorite comic book of all time. I'm going with Uncanny XMen.
Uncanny XMen.
I just
solid.
I don't know. They had really good stories, and I got emotionally involved in a lot of them. I remember I still had the issue. I think it was the Fatal Attraction storyline where Wolverine got his adamantium ripped out. I have that.
Yeah.
I have that comic. And
have it.
Yeah, I still have it. Cool. And he got it ripped out, and he was about fucking dead.
Yeah.
And he was heading toward the light, and he saw Ilyana, which, if anybody remembers, was Colossus's younger sister who got killed by, it was the legacy virus. I can't remember.
Yeah.
She was killed by something, and she blows him back. And he was ready to die, and it's I don't know, just good storylines, execution.
Then he had the depressing non-animanium weeks, months, whatever it was.
Oh yeah, he had the recoup.
And he just sat home and watched TV, like he watched The Walking Dead.
He got fat, and
he watched The Walking Dead and then bitched about it on his blog.
No, it's just,
and then he had a Rocky montage on his comeback.
I'm going with X-Men. Going with X-Men, good characters, really good,
you can't beat it, man.
Emotional stories, and Rogue.
There's never really been a bad writer on Uncanny X-Men. I mean, there's been a few. There's least favorites, but there's never been any really bad. I gotta say, outside of of course, I grew up on SpiderMan, so SpiderMan is.
Yeah.
But aside from SpiderMan, and it's really weird because it's won its Eisner Awards and stuff, but I got to go with Fables. I don't know what it is about that fucking comic, man.
I've heard about it.
It is brilliant, and if you're unfamiliar with it, a quick synopsis is that all the fairy fables you ever heard as a kid growing up, all Mother Goose, I mean everything from Little Jack Horner to Three Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf, everything, Snow White, Rose Red, all these fabled characters are banished from their homeland by what is known as the adversary, and they are banished to live in one apartment building in New York City. I know it sounds like the real world gone like Mother Goose.
No, it sounds interesting,
but it's really cool because like it's not it's not like you think. It's not going to be fucking just silly childish fables. Like there's fucking murder, there's rape, there's fucking robbery. It's crazy. You've read some of the Fable stuff?
They're fabled characters, and they have real life issues, and it's one of the things.
Well, you open up I started reading the trades. I bought Fables in Exile, which was book number 1, and you open up, and right there on the first page is one of the apartment buildings in the building, and it's fucking covered in blood and guts, head to toe.
Yep.
And you're like, wow, this is nothing like what I thought it was going to be. And it turns out they were like faking Rose Red's death. So it was really cool for it's really neat, man. It's basically taken like Law and Order, like a not rated version of Law and Order, and mixed it with like Mother Goose or something. It's really fucking cool.
A plug to another plug for Telltale Games. They have the game called The Wolf Among Us, which ties into that.
Okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna have to get some.
You're gonna check some Telltale.
It's pretty cool.
I've heard of a comic. Sounds interesting. It's called. I don't even know if they still make it. It's called Chew.
Yeah, Chew was.
That sounds interesting.
Chew was very, very good. Actually, it was another Eisner Award winner.
Yeah.
What happens is that like poultry becomes illegal in the future, and because of this horrible flu that's caused by poultry. And so people were like slinging cutlets on the streets like it's drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And like the main character, I can't remember. It's been a couple years since it just started a couple years ago.
And what's the premise? Isn't it like a detective or a homicide detective, and he knows what's happening by eating pieces of people or something?
Yeah, he can eat people. He can like consume pieces of like
the victim
people and kind of see what's going on.
Yeah, that's
or
cool.
whatever.
That sounds. I don't know.
It is actually. It's a really well done comic. I mean, even the art is unusual and really cool. And yeah, I really enjoyed Chew. I thought it was really, really good. We got what you guys got going on over there? You're over there having your own conversation.
Yeah, it'll remain off microphone.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And we got we're going to comic book movies from here. What is and this is another one we could go on for hours. The comic book movies, man. What is your favorite comic book film? Hands down, you got to pick one.
Yeah, we touched on this last time, but I'm gonna go again with Spider-Man 2.
Fuck it, we'll do it again.
All right, fine. We touched on it last time.
Fair enough. Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. That you mentioned it, we did. Yep, I'm gonna say mine was Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie.
That was really good, actually. What about you, Lee?
Avengers.
Avengers.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun seeing all of them.
The culmination.
Actually, I lied.
Yeah, yours was the Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Make up your goddamn mind, Joey.
Yep. I gotta agree with Joe. I gotta go with Watchmen.
Iron Watchmen.
Watchmen's probably one of my favorite comic book series. So Watchmen was excellent. And again, it goes to my. I have a theory about what translates to film, and I've noticed that, and I noticed it a lot in Stephen King stuff too, is that if it's based on a short story or if it's based on a novella, like it translates to film better. It seems like if you look at The Mist, which
I can see
was
that.
Fucking awesome. It's hard to really
with the
capture.
Movie?
Do what?
You're talking about the movie?
Yes,
I thought that movie was fucking awful.
You thought it was awful?
Yeah,
really?
I saw.
Did anybody else see The Mist?
It was horrible.
Are you fucking joking?
No, that movie was shit, and I saw the twist coming a mile away at the end.
Well, never seen it.
Fucking. Well, don't hold back, champ. Tell me how you feel.
I'm just telling you, I thought it was fucking horrible.
Okay, anyway, it was fucking helmed by Darabont, so you can go sit outside for a minute.
Fair enough. I'll talk about Power Rangers and how that movie sucked.
It was helmed by Darabont, who also did The Shawshank Redemption, which
that movie's wonderful.
Was adapted from a novella.
Green Mile was good.
The Green Mile was also Darabont, and I think that's what made Watchmen such a good movie is because the Watchmen was 12 issues, and Alan Moore was like, "No, we're not doing anymore." And I think that's why it translated so well. Same with
he hates
V for
everything
Vendetta.
he's made.
So, Alan Moore's a fucking asshole, but a brilliant writer. I mean, a brilliant comic mind, a brilliant writer, but he's a douche.
On the flip side of that, worst adaptations, because I'm mulling it around in my head, and there's one that it's a movie I love, but it's one of the worst movies ever. Howard the Duck.
Oh God!
And then, of course, bad. Garbage Pail Kids, the Hulk movies.
Which one? The one Ang Lee did, or the one with
both?
Both.
Both were horrible.
I actually am a fan of the Ang Lee one.
Really?
Fair enough. I like it.
Was that the Ed Norton?
No,
that movie's shit, Jordan.
Fair enough.
It sucks. It's shit.
Fair enough. I liked it. I didn't like the Ed Norton one. I liked Tim Roth in it, but I didn't like the Ed Norton one. But that's my opinion of Ed Norton because Ed Norton's the same goddamn character in almost every movie.
Edward Norton playing the Hulk.
Yeah.
I think if I had to pick, I like the Ang Lee one better. The most disappointing, I think, comic book adaptation for me was Fantastic Four. Because I was such a big Fantastic Four fan, man. I loved The Thing, and I loved Human Torch, and I just it was really like I thought it was. I mean, aside from Jessica Alba being Sue Storm, aside from
I also don't think it's fair that Chris Evans is allowed to be two heroes.
Three.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in the Marvel universe, though.
Oh yeah,
so
Marvelverse, he's two.
Yeah.
And he also was in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Fucking, he's so good looking though.
When
you're that good looking, you do whatever you want. But I was really disappointed by it because I wanted to see. I thought it was, with the exception of Sue Storm, Jessica Alba, I thought it was poorly cast. I didn't even like the guy that played. I mean, the guy that played Reed Richards looked like him. Mm-hmm. He just wasn't very good.
Yeah,
of course, the guy that played
Michael Chiklis as The Thing.
Yeah, the guy that played what's his name? Benjamin. What was his name? Ben
Grimm.
Ben Grimm. Yes, I couldn't think of
the blue-eyed thing.
Chiklis looks like him, but Chiklis I don't think can act his way of life.
I want to see the Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
That's that happened.
Yes, I'm surprised you don't know that.
No, I've never.
Oh my god! Like I forgot who owned the rights to the Fantastic Four movie. It was in the '90s. And
Roger Corman.
Roger Corman, and in order to like hold on to the rights, they had to do something, or they were going to lose the rights to the Fantastic Four. So they got Roger Corman.
So their go-to was to get Roger.
They got Roger Corman to make a severely low-budget Fantastic Four movie to hold on to the rights that they never planned on releasing.
Wow! Did it ever? Can you get it? Is it possible to? Can you find it?
I don't think so. There's an old fucking trailer out there though. I shit you not. I remember.
I never knew that.
I remember seeing.
Really weird.
I remember seeing stories on it in Wizard magazine.
That's fucking weird. Like, why would you? Don't get me wrong. I love Corman
because Corman can work cheap.
Yeah.
And they
paid him like $12.
They did it to have something that they said they made so they could hold on to the rights.
Wow.
So they got Corman to make it.
I never knew that, man. That's really interesting. I think that's going to wrap up this very special comic book episode of the Burg Nerds.
Oh, we'll have more.
Yeah, there'll be more.
There are many topics.
I just really wanted to touch on comics. It seems like there's so much, stuff with news and staying current on things. We kind of lost the nostalgia, which is a main part of the reason why we're doing it, because we wanted to, like I said, we're putting our conversations that we've had a million fucking times that we find entertaining, we think are funny, and we just it's basically why we started this podcast. We were sitting there. That fucking night, we all went swimming. We were talking about, the comic book chicks that we just wanted to nail. And we were like, we should start a podcast, man.
Yeah.
Take our conversations and put them on record.
We still got superhero powers we want. And I still have my stories of what it would be like working at the X Mansion.
Yes, absolutely. We both do.
So
I actually I got a piece of that conversation one night, and we kind of added more on top of it. I think you were absent.
So until next time, there you go.
Yeah, so it looks like I think the next episode, I think we might touch on superpowers. It seems like we can do a whole fucking episode on that.
Oh, I can go weeks on that. Hypotheticals.
That's going to do it for us, man. We are the Burg Nerds. We're going to call it a night here. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Jordan.
Big Joe.
I'm Lee.
You guys take care.
Yep.
The Burg Nerds. We were the Burg Nerds. Just sitting around talking about stuff. The Burg Nerds. That was the Burg Nerds. Just sitting around talking about shit.